For centuries, it existed as a myth, a distant, cloud-shrouded phantom on the horizon of the world. A mountain so remote, so impossibly high, that it remained outside the grasp of human understanding. It was a peak with many names: Chomolungma, the mother goddess of the earth to the Tibetan people; Sagarmatha, forehead of the sky, to the Nepalese. For the rest of the world, its identity remained a blank space on the map. Then came the Great Trigonometrical Survey of British India in the mid-19th century. Using sophisticated, though painstakingly slow calculations, surveyors measured the planet's tallest mountain for the first time. They named it after Sir George Everest, the Surveyor General who initiated the project. But the name, like the mountain itself, represented more than a simple fact of geography. It became a symbol of ambition, a powerful beacon for explorers and adventurers, beckoning them toward the ultimate challenge. The 20th century saw the start of a new kind of pilgrimage, not a spiritual one, but a race to the summit. The earliest expeditions in the 1920s were primarily British. These were not thrill-seekers, but disciplined explorers from a different era. Dressed in tweed and armed with rudimentary equipment, they faced a landscape that seemed to actively resist their every step. They were explorers from a world of maps and compasses, entering a realm of ice and thin air. The stories of George Mallory and Andrew Irvine are legendary. Their 1924 attempt ended in a disappearance shrouded in mystery. Were they successful? Did they reach the summit before their final fatal descent? For decades, the question of whether Mallory and Irvine had conquered Everest first fueled debate and captivated the public imagination. The search for their remains and the truth of their final hours continues to this day. These early attempts weren't just about planting a flag, they were about probing the limits of human possibility. They paid a heavy price in lives, but they also laid the groundwork for future success, pioneering the high-altitude routes and techniques that climbers still use today. The year 1953 brought the moment the world had been waiting for. A New Zealander beekeeper, Edmund Hillary, and a Nepalese Sherpa, Tenzing Norgay, stood at the summit. For the first time in history, humans had stood on the highest point on Earth. Their achievement was a global celebration, an icon of courage, teamwork, and the spirit of exploration. But the decades that followed saw a seismic shift. Everest transformed from an isolated peak for elite adventurers into an enterprise. Guided expeditions began to proliferate, offering a pathway to the summit for a different kind of climber, one with enough money to pay for it. The commercialization of Everest made the summit accessible to more people than ever before, but it also changed the mountain forever. Photographs of long queues of climbers near the summit became a common sight. The mountain's sacred slopes began to accumulate trash. The very spirit of exploration that drew Mallory and his ilk now seemed to be overshadowed by a bustling, high-altitude tourism industry. No story of Everest is complete without acknowledging the Sherpa people. Hailing from the valleys of the Himalayas, their connection to the mountain is not one of conquest, but of deep reverence and cultural heritage. For them, Chomolungma is a deity, not a challenge to be dominated. Yet they have become the indispensable partners in every expedition. With extraordinary physical fortitude and an innate understanding of the mountain, they are the backbone of the climbing industry. They establish the camps, fix the ropes, and guide the climbers. But this vital role comes at a great cost. With each passing season, they bear the brunt of the mountain's risks, facing disproportionately higher casualty rates than their foreign clients. So why do they still go? What drives a person to spend months in the hostile environment of the Himalayas, to risk everything for a few minutes on the roof of the world? It is the call of the wild, the pursuit of a dream, the testing of one's limits. It is the desire to stand in a place where the human spirit feels both incredibly small and immensely powerful. The mountain remains a touchstone for our deepest aspirations. It is a place of history, a sanctuary of ancient beliefs and a brutal testing ground. Everest is more than just a mountain, it's an idea. And whether you see it as a monument to human courage or a solemn reminder of our insignificance, its pull remains irresistible. It stands, silent and magnificent, a permanent challenge on the horizon, reminding us that there are still frontiers to be explored, both on the map and within ourselves.